Hey, good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. It's Talcott Tuesday, Talcott time. Um, Time for more inspiration, some more discussion, some more perspectives of faith, hope, encouragement, and, part of the Jack Talcott story. Thank you, brothers and sisters who have already tuned in and those who might tune in or catch what we share at a later date. The link to join is already pinned to the chat. So, as usual, we'll open up for panel a little later. But for those who have been paying attention to the story and the growth of what we're doing here, many of you know that Moose, Michael, and I have joined forces. We're working together on this. Last night, we tried something new. We put together a premiere and had some technical difficulties last night. So for those who tuned in for that, again, thank you. Thank you for your patience as we grow in this together. There was actually 3 new things posted earlier today, and if I miss anything, Moose will bring in the details later. But we got initially a long premiere, some short clips and inspirations, and that was all just today. I tell you what, man, this life thing is kind of cool once you look at it in a different way. When you kind of put down the burdens and the heaviness of what could be real in the world, the problems you're facing, the challenges, the thoughts, the insecurities, once you put those down, you kind of put your head down and figure out, what can I do? What can be done? And again, for those who have been paying attention, if you pay attention to the background, you might hear that I've got some soft sounds playing again. But beyond that, I have the stillness of silence. So the smoke detector chirping will not be an interference for us again today. So that part was addressed. But that was part of my cool day today, too. Here I am. I'm trying to figure out, what do I do? I got a tall ceiling and my tall ladder is missing, and obviously something that needs attention. Add to that, my body has been changing. God's been changing the way I'm walking lately. Something's going on with my leg. So I was a little uncertain about getting up a ladder anyway, but it's part of life. You got to do the shit you don't want to do. And when you don't have others to turn to, you got to get it done. That's been the lesson of my life, my whole life. So I know how to get things done. And had some inspiring conversations with a new friend I met online recently here in the YouTube realm. I'm hoping some of the invitations and conversations I had previously will result in guests joining. But I shared inspiring conversations with another man with similar goals and values as me, who believes in a better world, wants to help those who are suffering from the conditions of poverty, those without shelter. Anyway, we had some brilliant conversations earlier, some of my favorite type. And that brought us into the concept of local businesses. And holy cows, the solution for my problem, the missing ladder, the missing tools, and the problem, that was the solution. Went to the local hardware store, rented a ladder, just what I needed. $52 chirping smoke detector, but got it done. And let me get to the point too, the other inspiration I received, the kindness of neighbors, the really wonderful community that I do live in. So at the local hardware store, get the details, get the ladder worked out, and it's not quite what I thought it was. I was hoping it would fit in my trunk, one of those foldable types. But here I am with a Toyota Camry and a ladder that's about 7 foot tall. I don't know how tall it was. Maybe not 6 foot, whatever. And one of the neighbors right there, hey, throw it in the back of the truck. I'll follow you home. Golly geez, man. It was just what I needed. So Dan, if you did happen to tune in this evening, or you check this out later, thank you again, neighbor. Thank you, brother. It's I've been blessed to run into people who resonate they similar to me. I mean, there's something divine, and in the little 3-minute premiere I shared earlier, that's kind of what I was talking about, was my love of the divine and what I believe is the love from the divine. That love, that that expression of love that is formed and shown as time, and it's time that revealed us. I mean, I was thinking that thought again earlier today. You know, brothers and sisters, eons. It's been like, as science estimates, billions of years. A billion is a big damn number. Let's not get into the currency idea, but a billion is a big damn number. So supposedly it's been like billions of years to bring us to today. Holy shit, man, that's kind of special. It means all of time was waiting for today to be discovered. So what are we going to discover together? Tonight we'll open up the panel for discussion, should there be those who want to join. And I see some familiar faces. Provo Kid, God bless. Hey, Moose, would you please join? And I haven't been paying attention to chat, but I see some familiar faces here. I saw Provo's name, and Provo, tell you what, man, I would be honored to work with you in some ideas that Moose and I were talking about earlier. And you are a truly admiring guy. Well, hard hat, if I fire Moose, well, then I have to do more. That wouldn't make sense to me. So, but hard hat, I tell you what, man, come on up, brother. We'll see where it goes. We'll keep Moose in the back for a while. You won't even know he's there. Um, anyway, for those who want to come up, we've got Moose, of course, in the back, and then there's original Moose, and I'm Moose, and I'm blocking everyone in the chat. Jessica Jane, our singer, smarter than a potato. 6079 Smith W. You are welcome here, man. You've got some interesting numbers. It's just the connection to the relevance that I miss sometimes. Free speech advocate, hard hat, of course, salty siren. I may be repeating, but Sly Shy. God bless. I think. Whoops. Sorry, Moose. I think you brought some of that up already. Well, if I continue, some of the thoughts I was thinking about earlier then, and you know what? If a panel does not develop, then this will be just a different night, right? We'll do this either small and intimate, or maybe short and sweet. I'm good with either way. The purpose is, as I state, is to share some value, right? To inspire some different thoughts, a little encouragement, because this time we're living through as humans, man, it is bizarre. And if you think things are the way they are, like, right, I don't know how to explain this clearly, but if you think the world is one way and you live your life in accordance with that way that you believe, and it turns out it's not, you look back at yourself in time, and the time that you fought against what was real, and you realize how foolish you were. At least that's what I did. I realized how much I fought. Well, I don't know what I thought. I was a confused kid, man. I was a confused kid who grew into a confused man who never really understood what was going on. But golly geez, I figured I had to. Because every time I was wrong, man, I got in trouble. Whew! I hated getting in trouble, man. So then I started figuring out how to be right. How to let others be right, too. Fuck it. You can be right. I don't care. I'll be wrong. Um, Sometimes that was easier in the past. But for a long time, I don't think I'm wrong. I really don't think I'm wrong. I got a lot of people. There's a lot of people. Hey, you know what? There is a lot of people betting against what Moose and I are doing. Foolishness, my friend. There's a lot of people who've been betting against me for a long time. I've never really been much of a betting man. I take risks and I take chances and I take steps that others might avoid. I don't think I'm stupid. I think that stuff's behind me. Drinking myself to death, man, that was stupid. Being afraid of what women might say or what others might say, afraid of disappointing others, man. That fear stuff, here, this fear stuff, you don't need it. Fear takes up our time, energy, and attention. And in our choice of how we spend our time, energy, and attention, we can choose either fear or love. And it's quite easy to tell the difference once you look for the difference. Fear is going to be anything negative that we feel, right? This judgment is a result of an insecurity or a feeling of arrogance, superiority. Judgment is a fear of separation, that there is a difference. So fear brings us sadness, hate, anger, of course, anxiousness, but it also brings us depression and sadness, hopelessness, guilt, shame. Shame was the topic that I wanted to talk about on Sunday. That was one of the messages in the sermon from church. How it and when I heard the sermon, it was explaining me. So when I say we, I'm talking about my experience. We allow our guilt and our shame to prevent us from hearing the voices of others and perhaps the voice of God. That's what this sermon was about, was how God wants to speak to us. God is there speaking softly. The Christed Spirit is always with us, whispering the right answers with the subtleties of feelings, the subtleties of inspiration. But we don't notice the subtleties and the whispers of what is right when we're focused so viciously on what is wrong. So what is wrong is fear and negativity. That which is not loving is not necessary. There's a place for our anger, there's a place for our fear, there's a place for our sadness, there's a place for all things, and all things will be known at the right time. But faith is up to us. The faith in ourselves, the ability to know what is true, what is right, it's got to be developed from within. And it's hard to know what is true for you if you're always relying on the opinions of others, on the words of experts and authority. You are the expert of you. You are the authority of you. You are your ruler when you become responsible for you. But you got to know who you are. And that can be an interesting topic. That is the topic where I hope to come up with some graphs and slides and some visual aids, because what you are is the experience, the moment. You are this time. We are that which is, and that which is really all that may be known. But we're like this experience of time in the process of creation. And it is a magical, mystical process of nature, right? The growth and decay and the way that time is all just balanced. Everything has an answer, right? Has an explanation. Man is that which creates those. Man, humans, us, you and me, we're the ones who come up with the answers and the definitions of words and things and moments. So if we want to live without fear and with peace with one another, then we just got to learn how to trust ourselves. And it's really easy to trust that which you enjoy, right? That which you enjoy seems to become reliable. My mind went to my old days of whiskey. It was always a way to soothe me. But if you can just enjoy being you without the attention of someone else, without the food, consuming the calories, the sweets, or whatever, if you can enjoy being you responsibly with enjoyable and creative conservation, that's what we are. We're here as, like we got the opposable thumbs so that we can do things, right? Take actions and create. And I think God gave us those with these minds and these generative hearts of, emotions. I think God gave us these spirits and the opposable thumbs so that we could be the caretakers of this creation and move forward into what is new. And what is new is nothing, man. There's nothing new under the sun except that which was in a different way. And so we are here. I realize, holy shit, I'm listening to my words. It may sound like I'm rambling. but the ancient texts, the truth is eternal, right? And the only thing that may be known or relied upon is the eternal, that which is. And if you want to know the truth, you got to go within, because within is the ancient wisdom, the genetic history, the evidence of the biological transformation and evolution of what we are. It's just magical and amazing. So if you can enjoy being you, wherever you are, with whatever you've got, and with whoever's around, if you can enjoy being you and share the joy of being you with others, man, this whole world, brothers and sisters, this whole world will quickly turn right around. So they say, and so as the story goes, our Creator formed the earths and all of this in 7 days. But I've often wondered, what will happen when humanity realizes that there is no separation between us and the divine, nor any separation between any of us. What might happen when humanity comes together with the faith that the divine is with us? How quickly might this world change? Welcome, brothers. Hey, Provo Kid, and absolute holy cows.
What's it's
Is
I got
that
no, I got ponytail, dude. Thank you, brother.
okay? I'm going to turn you up just a little bit, brother. You're soft.
Maybe that's on my. Is that better? Oh, there you go.
Much
Someone
better.
turned me down. Hey, good to be here, Jack. Brother Moose, always good to see you. Who Smith is insane. Always good to have you up here, Jack. Just wanted to come bless you with. There he
Smith
is.
brings us an interesting twist, and holy cows, man. You spun there for just a moment, Provo, but you, man, what an honor. You are a talent, just like you just overflow with creativity, generosity, praise. I mean, you're just, I learn, and thank you, brother, for what I've received.
Hey, I'm learning from you, Jack. I'm taking a few notes out of your playbook as well. I think this is a symbiotic relationship, a lot of reciprocity going on, and I like that. And your topic today was shame, right?
It's open,
It's
but
open, or was that Sunday? You moving past it?
I brought up an old topic that I intended to address before, but shame is always, it ties in with forgiveness, right?
Yes.
So I think shame and forgiveness are important topics for people to discuss, even if it's in the generality, because we all deal with that stuff, man. The challenges of forgiveness and the oh, excuse me. What steps can you take to overcome fear and live a more fulfilling life? That is the question to ask. Um, for myself, do you have an answer, Provo?
I'd like to hear yours first, brother Jack, and then maybe play off of it. But go first, please.
For myself, it was really humbling myself into gratitude. First, it was what I called super acceptance. Okay, because we become afraid of what we don't know. And it's really easy to do that. If you live a childhood where there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of chaos, it's real easy to become comfortable being anxious and being afraid. And those fears and insecurities that, back of our mind, that we're not good enough, that we're not loved enough, that we're not quite safe enough, that back of a mind fear it'll prevent us from taking steps. And I tell you what, how to overcome fear is to trust in yourself, and the way to trust in yourself is what I was getting at earlier. Be grateful, enjoy being you, because this is the lifetime to be you. And if you can find a way to laugh at your fears, or even better, if you can laugh at yourself for allowing the fears. If you can laugh, you can overcome. And I tell you what, I in my early development, I hired a coach, and that was one of his gifts to me was the reminder that the gift of you, the present, the talent that is within, it's hidden behind those fears.
Certainly. I think.
Before,
Go ahead, brother.
I'm sorry, one last thought was the answer to that. How do you overcome your fears to create the life you want to enjoy? You've got to believe that that life is available. Envision the success that will be achieved after the sacrifices, because you've got to you got to be willing. If you want to improve, you want to change, you got to be willing to sacrifice. So what are you willing to sacrifice in order to achieve that goal? Sometimes those sacrifices are just simply bad habits.
Amen, brother. Wise words there. I might just echo off of that and add on to it a little bit. The overcoming fear, right? Fear is usually something that's in the future that hasn't happened yet, right? So I think to overcome fear, a lot of people need to stop becoming fortune tellers, right? So there's a lot of people in these communities who are fortune tellers, and they'll tell you fortunes about your life, the future of your life, and they do that to themselves too. And when people do that, they fortune tell a future, they create fear, right? So I think believing in a future filled with fear, right? You're not in the present moment. So I think one way to overcome the fear is bring yourself back to the moment and realize that fear a lot of the time is always something in the future that hasn't happened yet, and it's not even certain it will happen. So to place that burden on your mind uh, is unreasonable, and I think if you can get better at taking those burdens maybe out of your metaphorical backpack, whatever, it helps you down the road. I love it. Love it, Jack. Great question, Moose. You're a killer producer. You got lucky with Moose here. Moose is a good guy, Jack.
Amen, brother. I've been blessed to meet some very inspiring people. Something I've been thinking about more and more recently. Um, you just said something though. I wanted to bounce off what you just said, brother. These are the beautiful conversations I love. Uh, Damn it! Where did you take us? I'm sorry, Provo. I really was listening.
I was well. I think what I said, just to reiterate, is that fear is usually something in the future that hasn't happened, right?
Thank
So
you,
to place yourself in a position of a fortune teller and putting weight in the uncertainty of the future is a waste of time. If you bring yourself back to the present moment, it's one way of escaping the fear or overcoming it. Just to kind of paraphrase what I said.
brother. Thank you. It was that key of the future tripping. That was what I wanted to reinforce. That was the lesson I learned, man. What you said, that is so important. If you're feeling anxious and worried, about the future, or maybe even depressed about what you think's going to come, get back into today and humble yourself to what you do and do not know. And I know this future tripping can drive us nuts, absolutely nuts. And I see a lot of people doing that. Um,
Almost everybody, right? That's a big part of this community is everybody who knows shit, and they'll tell you what the future is. This whole community is filled with people who know everything, and so because of that, they know the future. They know you. They're experts at everything. It's amazing.
I've I've met many like that. The words "I don't know" seem to be absent from some people's vocabulary. Um, but I freely
Absolutely.
admit I don't know much. I only know that which feels right, man. Can you share some personal experiences of facing your fears and coming out stronger? Thank
Oh,
you.
certainly. Like I'm getting some echo on my end. I wonder why. It's better now. So some fears I've faced in my life, right? Uh, it depends what kind of fear. I never really had fear of anything, to be honest, till I had children, Jack. I was kind of a fearless individual, right? And I wasn't even afraid of death. Never thought about that. Kind of like, hindsight 2020. Uh, and then when I, started having kids, the fear of death became probably my biggest fear in my life. So overcoming that, um, because it's probably my greatest challenge right now. Like, because my attachment to living is one of the strongest attachments I have left, right? Because we're always trying to, not have so many attachments, but I'm attached to my physical body, my life, and those are my strongest attachments, I would say. And so my fear that I'm trying to overcome maybe is like I guess not worrying about it, but when you bring something into the world, right? The For me the mindset of like I have to stay alive became ever present. And so then the fear of death came into my life where I have people to care for now. I have a family, I have a structure, and uh, so that's probably the biggest fear I've been trying to overcome lately. Is like I'm gonna get old, I'm gonna die, right? And I got to do everything I can to stay, as stay alive as long as possible for the not my sake, but the sake of my family and the children, and giving them a full life. But overcoming that fear is just understanding that me thinking about dying or death doesn't help me at all. So that's kind of where I just come back to the moment, come back to the present, and ask myself, is thinking about this helping me? And if it's not helping me, I try to think about something else, Jack.
Brother, that practice and that consciousness, that awareness is so key, right? Paying attention, notice what you're noticing. Pay attention to the thoughts, because is this a helpful thought, or is it constructive or destructive? And that I didn't know you had offspring, brother. I didn't know you were a dad, but congrats.
Certainly, I'm a Mormon.
I should have
naturally.
known.
So
Um, hey, well, that's awesome. I understand that what you described too. It's like when I held my son, it was like, holy shit, now I have a reason to live. Maybe I should take this life stuff more seriously. But I didn't. I was still pretty confused. But um, that attachment, I understand what you're saying. Part of that too is, well, it'll sound brutal, but it's the truth. We attach ourselves to the idea that others need us. Nobody needs us.
yeah, amen,
That's
amen, brother.
It's a tough lesson that I had to learn for myself. I mean, I thought people needed me, but nope. They're doing pretty good, man, apparently. So, um, have you ever woken up and looked over at your child to see if they're still alive? When my daughter was born, I would constantly wake up and check on her. Did you go through that?
Uh, I mean, no. Maybe if my kid napped for an hour longer than, or like I'm like, oh, that's a long nap, I go and look. But I mean, never kind of paranoid. Hey, Jack, I'll be right back. I got to answer this phone call.
God bless you, Provo. With at the same time as more support. Welcome, brother. Welcome, Scott. How you doing today, my brother?
I want you to realize got to be is it's got to be. It's got to be Jack Talcott. There you go. And it's got to be live. Jack Talcott's live. Here he is in living color. And thank fucking God I'm not checking my smoke detectors today. Did you fix that?
It is silent. It has been
You are.
silenced.
I've already pulled the batteries out of 3 of them here. Oh my God. And it's this fucking computer. I'm like, son of a
I
bitch.
Hey, sorry. I tried warning a couple times each stream, but
I missed them fucking warnings. I was
yeah,
wandering around the house. What the hell's going on? My hearing ain't all that good. I've been too close to speakers all my life.
no. Hey,
Hey, I posted. Here's a first, okay? Because I'm fucking new to this metaverse. So I posted something. I'll let you premiere. Okay, this is not my song, but I have the rights to post it. I put it on Scott to Be Live channel. And about 7 minutes back is one. There's a few things as I was playing around that I posted original pieces of work that came out of my studios. But the tides is hanging out with the big wigs, pushing your way through the thick twigs. I think you'll like it. So if you don't, you cut it off. If you do, you leave it on your fucking, and it's that simple. Let me see if I can give you a link to it. Would you like that?
sure.
Let me
Let's check
see
it out.
if I can find this fucker here.
Well, now
Talcott Tuesday.
this is
Yes, sir.
this song, or this is what? What is it?
It's a recorded song out of my partner and I had a studio for years. Well, we had 3 different studios, to be honest. Counting the house studios, there'd be 5. Um, but this is a song that came out years ago. Well, there are 2 songs that came out of this particular junction, which was The Tides and the Well. The Wishing Well is kind of a follow up to The Devil Went Down to Georgia. You know what I mean? If you will. Devil Went Down to
Well,
Georgia. But you're not, that's fine. If you want to, I'll let you listen to it another time. People can just find it on my channel. Fucking,
hey,
and I
brother,
posted it
Nate.
a little while ago. Yeah.
2 things now. let's promote your channel so people can find it. And can you leave a link so I can check it out later?
Sure.
I mean, either way,
I'm
let's
not
do
really
that.
promote a
Okay?
channel. Yeah, I'm
No,
not
I
trying to promote a
understood
channel
that.
because
I understood.
I'm not doing anything other than playing with this, trying to figure out the fun world of online.
Scott, I love you, brother. Your
But here's a link
audio.
to blown up because I keep moving through things. I guess I'm gonna myself.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. I'm not sure what's going on with your audio, brother. Welcome, Pink. Pink, have you?
Blessings, brother Pink. I'm pleased to share a panel with a fellow rambling man. It's nice.
Yeah, you know, I told Jack recently. Thank you. I told Jack recently the reason why I ramble is I'm half Canadian, so it's just we like to just jab. But I want to get back onto your fear thing. It's really interesting because we all have to go through it, and it starts from the fear of the unknown is probably one of the biggest things. A lot of people are afraid of the ocean. A lot of people are afraid of jumping from a height. A lot of people are afraid of the dark. Still, I'm sure there's some adults out there that are like that, but it's these things, these unknowns that we over manifest and create into our mind. And it almost, you need that drive. I feel like a human being needs that type of almost push. There's that fight or flight thing that we all know about, but if we can overcome the fear, then next time we become better prepared for it. We're able to identify it when that happens. So I think fear is a great thing for everyone to accept and to put yourself into certain positions where it's out of your comfort zone. I'm not saying do anything drastic, but I'm saying if you're at a restaurant and the faux restaurant has beef testicles, probably a bad thing, but it's a bad subject to put out there. But I mean, it's a delicacy. People eat it everywhere else except for the United States, like a taboo. But get out of your comfort zone, break out of that freedom. Is mundane or small as it might be. Definitely put that drive, that survival aspect. That's what gets you going in the morning.
Here, let me bounce in with what you're saying and this question though. How can you embrace vulnerability and overcome the fear of being judged by others? That's a great question. Now, you got to tie these two together, because the reality is we do become prisoners in our own comfort zones. The habits of the past create this false sense of security, this false comfort, and we deceive ourselves into believing we can't change, that we can't take the risk, we can't lose this. Well, this evolution, the way the process works of life, we are change in form, and we deny ourselves opportunities to change, and we create these imagined fears, right? That if I don't have this safety and security of what I know, then everything will fall apart and I won't know who I am. And that is true. Okay. So the question is, how do you overcome that fear? You embrace you're vulnerable. You say, fuck, I'm afraid, man. All right. So that part is true. So what? That's part of life. If I'm afraid right now, what am I afraid of?
Yeah.
And then break it
yeah.
down.
Yeah, I fully agree. With Elon Musk and his recent endeavor, everyone was so amazed that it exploded. It exploded for a reason. And even like all these other pre NASA or post NASA astronauts are saying what he did is just amazing, and it's
Brilliant.
the next step in a positive direction. You have to fail in order to succeed. And if people think that all you're going to be doing in life is just succeed, if that happens and you fail once after succeeding for so long, man, that's going to feel like such a hit. It might. You have to fail, challenge yourself, push yourself into the right direction. And what other people think, it's your life. What do you want to do with it? If you want to like be a turtle and kind of like put yourself back in the shell, that's you. If you want to go forward with it and fight on, that's you. But I think that having that fear aspect, that drive, that's what got us to be here today. If we were always afraid, we'd probably still in the savannas, eating fermented fruit in order to get high.
Probably would.
I only did that once.
Hey, the future's not here yet. There may be time again.
Brother Jack, I'd like to hear Scott's take on what Brother Pink just said.
Please, yeah.
Well, unpacking fear is tough. And what we do is we tend to focus on it, and that leads us away from our calling. Okay. If you realize that I posted in the private chat, this is Gary Busey's acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real. Okay. And what, if you know Gary Busey, he's a fucking wild man.
Gary Busey.
He's a nut. Yeah. He's a nut, but he's a very talented nut. And before his motorcycle crash, he was extremely intelligent. All right. Once he bit some semen, it was a fucking lot different. But he's still a genius in his own right. He's just kind of more like Brain Man today. At any rate, fear it's a fucking massive motivator if you let it be, because some people will get to the bottom of everything and their fear will pull them out of it. Okay. So there's nothing about fear that you should be afraid of except fear itself. Okay. That inaction that's caused by fear for some people, where they get deer in the headlight syndrome and, can't move. They become paralyzed. That's not what I think the divine spirit had in mind with fear. Fear is a fight or flight response. And, I think that, there's the fight is about it's not physical necessarily, it's emotional too. I mean, you have to stay there and figure out how to overcome your adversity. And I said on another, I don't know if it was on your cast or not, but I said, here's one of my quotes I'll share with you. I know the obstacles in my life are oftentimes the obstacles I myself create. Okay, that's a fact. And if we don't realize that, then we blame everybody for everything. If we blame everybody for everything, there's no inner peace. If there's no inner peace, we're outwardly projecting bullshit. If we're outwardly projecting bullshit, we can expect a lot of bullshit to come at us, and then we're not resolving shit.
Hey, amen. Let me jump in here. I love what you guys are saying. With this blame, what you said, yeah, as long as we feel insecure and separated, we'll continue to blame. And as long as we blame, we'll be in a defensive, offensive position in our emotions. And blame will bring regret, it'll bring shame, it'll bring guilt, and those things keep us afraid. So while I agree, and there was that chat too about fear is a great motivator.
Yeah.
It is. Fear has been the motivator that capitalism and billionaires and tyranny has been built upon. It's very powerful, but I'm offering that love is the greater motivator. It is the one. It's found past the fear. Once we look past the fear, we find the love. And with the love, man, that can lead us. That's our why.
So I
Okay.
got a question for you, Jack. You mentioned that quote that just recently popped up down on the comment. Motivators or fear and love. There's that one thing where if a car is turned over and there's a child trapped inside, a mother will get this strength to flip the car over. You know, that whole thing. That's from fear and love. So it can take both of those in order for someone to be completely superhuman.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to think about. You put yourself into a position, and you never know what type of outcome is going to happen. It could be something that even surprises you. Like, you've never known this about you, that you can flip a car over. Well, if your kid's in the vehicle, but that is something like love behind the fear. I think that's a growing process of knowing and understanding fear, taking accountability for if you do something wrong, just accept it. Just be, take it in and say you're sorry and realize that, that's the truth, the fact of it all. Some people are afraid of admitting that they're wrong, that they're, being part of a blasphemy type persona. Just, it's a character thing. I think that also falls within fear. So you said it: mental, emotional, physical.
Brother, amen. And not to keep you out of this, Provo, but the character is developed through us over time as a result of our family, our schooling, our society, our environment. And the character of us is that which carries the fears and the memories and the insecurities. But there was that question. What was it? How can you overcome what was the question? How can one develop a more positive mindset and overcome the fear of failure?
Mm.
That was something I wanted to address too, is people not only develop a fear of failure, they literally can create a fear of success, right? If we judge another, we will prevent ourselves from becoming like that. In this world, a lot of people coming from poverty have been taught that wealthy people are a problem, that they're evil. Every one of them is corrupted just because they've got more numbers in their bank account. Well, that's not true in every case, right? So we have people, and I had to go within, and I know I had a lot of money issues myself within me. I think maybe success or fear of success was an issue for me for a long time, because I judged people in power. I judged them as corrupt and no good and untrustworthy. But then at the same time, that's who I learned from. So
Yeah, I can see that. Provo, go ahead. You've been itching for a minute.
No, I like listening to you, Pink. It's always good to hear you. I haven't really heard you really talk. You get taken off the panel when I've watched you. You don't really get a chance to finish your thoughts. And I think you got great thoughts, Pink. I see a lot of myself in you. I'm a rambling man. I could, if you give me an inch, I'll take a mile. But with that, Jack, there's a lot. How do you build a positive mindset? Is that the question, or is there something else?
How to squash the failure? Yeah,
more
I
positive.
forgot to answer that, but yes, please run with that.
The question essentially just comes to, or might boil down to, what do you want to become, right? What kind of positive mindset? Then you look for role models in your life or in your world or in a book, right? I like Thich Nhat Hanh. So then these people have all created a positive mindset patterns, and then you start adopting their positive mindset patterns and seeing if they work for you, right? And seeing if that helps you overcome fear. Maybe for someone like Paul Enslave, what's that guy's name? Wes
Watson.
Maybe it's Wes Watson and not Thich Nhat Hanh, or there's lots of people who do have positive mindsets, right? And if you do adopt their patterns, I do believe that can lead you to overcoming the fears and challenges in your life. And with that, Jack, I'm going to kick it back to you three. I think this, like, you three would be a great number. I might hop back on if one of these gentlemen hop off, but this has been a great conversation. And Jack, you're doing amazing. Love to see the growth. Everybody hit like, subscribe, and share.
Thank you,
Much
Provo.
love, Provo. Golly geez. I always feel honored when he arrives and when he leaves. He's just a pleasure. Hey, before I toss it back to you guys, that question, how do you overcome it? The key I've learned, gratitude. Get creative and identify reasons to be grateful. Because gratitude, seriously, if you feel like you're lacking, then you feel empty inside. And if you feel grateful, it fills you. It literally fills you with love, happiness, joy, confidence, and so if you can remind yourself, even in the darkest times when things seem so uncertain, that this time is temporary, this feeling is temporary, this experience is temporary, I'm going to make it through this. And if you can find gratitude for the fact that you can see a way out, that there is promise, there is change coming, if you can keep that gratitude within you, you will find the strength to overcome your fear, to push past that, and to find the peace that's available. Thank you, guys. What do you think, Scott?
I want to share something with you. This was given to me out of college from a girlfriend of mine. You ever heard of John Walter Whalen?
Possibly, but I can't remember the context.
He wrote The True Gentleman. Can I read it?
Please.
Yeah, please do.
Please share.
The true gentleman is the man whose conduct proceeds from goodwill and an acute sense of propriety, and whose self-control is equal to all emergencies, who does not make the poor man conscious of his poverty, the obscure man of his obscurity, or any man of his inferiority or deformity, who is himself humbled when necessity compels him to humble another, who does not flatter wealth, cringe before power, or boast of his own possessions or achievements, who speaks with frankness, but always with sincerity and sympathy, whose deeds follow his words, who thinks of the rights and feelings of others rather than his own, who appears well in most any company, a man with whom honor is sacred and virtue is safe.
Where that
John
came from
Walter
where?
Wayland, The True Gentleman.
Those
well
are things that a
They're
lot of
words to
people don't
live by.
follow these
They're
days.
words to live by. Okay?
Yeah.
And what we need to understand is some of what's going on in this metaverse is really not what it takes to be a man. Some of what it takes to be a man is to humble yourself and to realize that the strength of a man is not having to prove how fucking strong you are. That's not it. You need to prove how much of a man you are. And I think we all have that in us. But I said it the other day, I'll say it again. When you lose the boy, the man will appear. But you got to put away the boy. And the boy wants to fight. The boy wants to say, mine, 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 mine.
To discover the man, the boy must be healed.
The boy's got to get the fuck out the door. You got to leave the boy behind.
I got to get his butt kicked a couple of times, beat down by humanity, and then realize, what to appreciate in life, and then fight for the things that
when you're old and unable to do shit, the boy
values.
will come back.
Well,
that's like parenting 101 almost. I mean,
when a lot of people grow up is when they have a kid, they have no other choice. That's when the boy disappears for a lot of people.
And talk about fear, like when you have your first kid, like that is the scariest moment of your life.
Oh
you
my
know,
God,
and
you're
then,
responsible for another human being. You made
another
people.
what, how is this
Well,
possible? I'm not even responsible myself. I can't even cook dinner half the time. And,
right.
I don't have three meals a day. It's like, now you have to feed a whole other person, take time out of your day from doing your things. It's
Wait,
just,
can I wait another 20 years before I say I'm a grown up? Fuck
and
this.
that
Right.
becomes growth. That's very important. Some people need to be pushed in that direction. Oh yeah, go. Sorry.
Well, thank you. Some do, but where I was getting at is of healing the child is I've been very clear about my hopes and intentions. I want to have these conversations with the citizens of the United States government. This economic system where this economic system, the global system, has profited from trauma and conflict. That's why wars and debts and punishment are all profitable. This world is insane. What has happened is there's our mental our healthcare institutions and our universities have miseducated most of the professionals. So we've got all these mental health professionals who don't actually understand how the mind and the spirit works. And so there's good-hearted people with all the best intentions living their best lives that they know how, but damn it, we've got to change the system that profits from traumatized children. We've got a bunch of adults enabling each other with their anger and their depression and anxiety,
Yeah.
all because they never healed their mommy and daddy issues.
Well, it's a lot. I think it goes a little bit deeper. And you mentioned a couple of institutions prior to this, and those institutions are broken. You're talking about the banking institution. You're talking about all of the judicial system,
All of them.
poverty, but education. Education is something that is completely broken, that we have just turned into a glorified daycare for our youth. We're throwing our kids into these institutions that we're just assuming is going to be teaching them the correct things the right way, when really we've gone the other route and we've made it literally as easy as possible compared to the mathematics and science and alchemy and history that was taught before. We don't even teach cursive anymore in our schools. What's going to happen with documentation where they have to read something with cursive? That's going to look like hieroglyphs to them. Unless it has an emoji next to it, they're not going to know what it means.
Well, they've dumbed
Yeah,
down the kids so much that cursive isn't even,
yeah.
you can't even get them to do math hardly. I mean, all they're trying to do is indoctrinate, and I don't want to say this is for educational purposes. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's not like the left has taken over our schools for the last 30 years. It's not like we have a problem with the kids falling behind and the rest of the world fucking advancing on us. It's not like we have a system of overlords that are just not protecting us. It's not like there's a Clearfield doctrine that clearly states that if a government starts acting like a corporation and presenting them as a corporation, then they become a mere corporation. So if
Right.
a government is not following the laws, I'm not sure why the fuck I should.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the core message that I've been trying to share. Not just me. I mean, Paul Unslaved, many other platforms here on YouTube, they're sharing a lot of positive things, educating people about, hey, this is corrupt and we got to change it. But, well, many people are pointing out the corruption. Many people are spreading the fear. Many people are spreading the anger. I'm suggesting we are the solution. It's us.
Yeah, we have to be.
How,
It's
how,
it's one of the
how
things.
though?
Backs against the wall. If we're scared or not, well, like we have to do it, and it's for the benefit of the future. And we talk about the youth of today, but we don't talk much about the inevitability. We're always fighting for that dollar. We're always fighting to have that little bit of something. But then, as soon as we know it, we're done. That's it. We're not taking anything, none of our equity with us. And a lot of people are afraid of the death. But what would you do to change our educational system to give it certain departments and things to learn in order to change it for people later on to make it easier? Because for me, it was difficult learning how to do your taxes. It was difficult learning how to, sign up a couple of things, buy a car, even get a house. What about making a will? How many people have decided to make a will at a certain age? Like there are certain growth aspects that people need to do to grow and to basically have things set for the inevitability, to not fear so much for it, but also be able to thrive within the time that they have.
Forget the will, get to trust. Get to trust. Get to trust. Fall away from the will.
See, right there, there, education. I'm going for a trust now.
It's under today's structures, absolutely. A trust, private trust, all of that stuff is the way to do it. But we can evolve beyond this. Really, it's as simple as recognizing the spirit of who we are, recognizing the spirit and purpose of this life is the experience. And so it's the experience of life that we're going to take with us, not the material crap, not the property, not all this other nonsense. So we can move beyond the trust and we can create. Literally, I believe this is the future. I just don't know how it's going to happen. But I see a future humanity where this live without fear. People around the world live their lives without fear, and they live without fear because humans around the world love living. And everyone loves living because they're filled with gratitude, and they're filled with gratitude because they know wars and debts have ended. And so since wars and debts have ended, that means we've overcome collectively. We've united together and overcome these illusions of authority and wealth, right? And so when we all come together without authority, without governments and budgets, economics controlling our choices, everyone around the world will be able to live freely, to live with love, doing what they desire, learning what is available. We can set up community centers where children to 90 years old can go into the community center using the technology and the experts, the information we've learned. People can learn any subjects they want for free. What the fuck are we doing sending people to spend years sitting in a classroom memorizing regurgitated information to follow someone else's rules? What the hell is going on with us? This is insanity.
Yeah, there's some indoctrination. A lot of it too is networking. Some of this stuff is just you just got to pass the class to move on to the next thing. But there is a lot of fodder. There's a lot of nonsense that we have to deal with. So how do we slim it down to be more productive, to kind of speed things up? We have AI and all this other stuff. Speaking of, like you're mentioning earlier about authority, and one of the things that I remember when I was a kid was homework was bad.
Right.
Yeah, it's gross. So people would tend to go away from the whole doing homework thing, and then you'd see the fluctuation in the grades of the individuals. So there's already that stigma. If we can eliminate the stigmas, the connotations that come with like the authority figure, it would be much easier. Though we still have, again, the world that dictates a lot of what our youth takes in. Even though if you're a parent, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier today, that a lot of parents don't know about the third parent that's in the room, which is the world, and you can't control that. The world keeps spinning. So with that being said, you have to guide your child in the best direction as possible. Your child's going to have tons of fear, and you got to hope that they're going to be able to come to you when they're at that point to ask you for guidance. Hopefully they'll take the choice that you're telling them to, but you know that they're going to have to go the other way in order to fail and learn. So next time it's not going to happen again.
I've seen, brother, what you're saying. Absolutely. I made a lot of mistakes. My words today come from experience, right? Experience and growth. And I think the most important thing parents can do for their children, single mom, single dad, whatever relationship is, if you're an adult in a child's life, make yourself vulnerable to them. You know, make a safe place for a child to come to so that they can express themselves with vulnerability and with the perspective of an adult. And you can do this with yourself too, with the inner child and the memories of the past. You can go back and have that conversation with the perspective of a loving adult, you know, because I was thinking about that earlier. God, I don't know why I'm emotional like this today, but driving by the school, saw a couple of young kids driving, just crossing the crosswalk. And the first thought that came was just smile. Our children, right? That's our children, the community's children. Those are my neighbor's children, right? We lose sight of our connections with each other. And it's so easy to do. We focus on our family, our job, our life. And we're part of that third parent.
Yeah, we are. We have a little hand in the pot, a very, very minute hand, but to some certain individuals, it might be a bigger hand than what we think. So,
amen.
What's up, Scott? You got anything to add, Scott?
I'm pondering things. I mean, you know, you got to be careful about being that third parent in the room because people take a lot of offense to it. So,
yeah,
you know, you have a world full of people that are butthurt over this, that, and the other thing, and they're just looking to be victims. So, fuck with their kids, and man, it's on. I don't know what to do on that one other than try and guide people in some positive principles, give them some advice, and you know, I mean, if anything, you know, look at Paulie as the unfucker. I mean, he's fucked up himself. I mean, we can all admit that we're all fucked up, and I'm sure he can admit, he says it all the time. He's as fucked up as the next guy, but he's willing to try and unfuck people up. But in that process, how many people can get fucked up? So his method is in my opinion, and I wouldn't change it because he enjoys his life, and who's going to tell another man how to live? You know, do what you do and enjoy yourself. But in that process, I'm just wondering what the collateral damage is going to be on, you know, on the outer scale, you know, I mean, because some people are going to come, some people are going to go. You know, I could have been butthurt or been, you know, with some of the shit that's been said to me. I can look at this chat right here and go, fuck all this, you know. But I don't pay attention to that. If you want to talk about me, listen, if you're picking on me, you're leaving some other poor bastard alone. So come at me. I don't give a fuck. But so here's ultimately what we're doing with fear that I think is one of the biggest troubles with society is we're letting ourselves be paralyzed by it. So instead of stopping to act or react when necessary because someone's in trouble, you go, oh, well, maybe I should just stay out of that. And that's not manly. That's not being a man. And what Paulie says, you know, I mean, even if somebody's being wrongly treated by the cops, I think we have a duty to stand up to that. And I have, and I will again. And it gets you in fucking hot water. And if a cop talks to me, I'll erase the video if he does the fucking right thing. Period.
Hey, we're all here to look out for each other, but it takes compassion and care with the way we do it.
Passion too. You have to be passionate enough. That's where I think Paulie has got the passion. Don't want to.
Passion gets distorted as anger with those who, well, hey, Jesse, welcome, brother. I wanted to say hi to Jesse Howell from the Missing Link, High Vibe Love Tribe. Good to see you, brother.
What's up, brother? Sending love to y'all. And yeah, that's right. We agree with what you guys were talking about, and with what Scott was saying, but when he was saying you gotta kind of like let go of that inner child, I don't think that's totally correct, at least not through my eyes. I think you have to heal that inner child, and that's where the shadow work is. For a time where people detach from that inner child is when they become the angry, but then they become the bullies, when they become those things, because they're not truly connected to that inner child themselves. It's not that they're acting like a child, it's just they haven't healed that inner child. So then they act out in the certain ways, and then you can be as smart with your lingo as you want, and say these things that make you look as smart as you are, but when you're coming at people angry, when you're insulting people, you're truly not coming at a place of peace, at a place of love. That's a place that you're frustrated, you're angry, and you haven't healed that inner child. So when these people do talk about these other people, they're just showing, they're exposing themselves about the inner turmoil and trauma that they still have to heal within inside of themselves, so they project it onto other people. And some people are better at it than others. Some people create bully unions where they get a whole bunch of bullies that like to be around each other, and they feel empowered by targeting other people, and that stuff is really disappointing. And then they say, oh, I'm about love, but that's not about love. That's the exact opposite of what love is.
We're going to force the love down your throat. Oh, wait, maybe that's probably not the right thing to say.
That's exactly
Chat's
it.
going to have fun with that.
That's exactly
but yeah,
it, though.
It's that that forceful love, that aggressive love, like, no, you're doing it wrong. And I feel like that's kind of, how the not Inquisition, but how a lot of the pre-Sierra, they came here and talked with the Indians in California. That was a lot of the thing, is like, no, you're polygods. No. There's only one God, and it was either that or you work in the fields. So is a lot of forcing of that love. But yeah, there are definitely, yeah. Sorry, Jackie, I saw you there.
I love what you said, and the way you described it. I'm guilty of it myself. I think we've all probably done that. We've been disappointed with someone, yell at them out of love and out of care. I mean, I know in my confusion, especially with my past employment and shit, I yelled at people I loved, man, and it scared them. It drove them away. So our yelling, our anger, the result of the fear, it causes damages. And this this forceful love, it's a result of an insecurity. And Jesse, what you were saying, a unhealed child.
Yeah, you don't want to disconnect yourself from it. You want to heal it. You want to honor it and respect it. And sorry that I wasn't listening to you, because the inner child in each and every one of us is one of the most beautiful things when people.
Can I respond to that, Jesse?
Yeah, of course.
All right. And I don't disagree with you. All right. Your childlike being that is inside you will always be inside you. You should have fun. You should enjoy Disney, especially if you have some kids and you can take them there. You should enjoy teaching them how to play baseball. You should enjoy the laughter and the fun that comes from dressing up and fucking going out trick-or-treating and stuff. But that's the time there's time to be a kid. You can have kid moments with your buddies. Go laugh, play pool, shoot. But don't be a child, okay? It's okay to be childlike, but you have to be a man. When you're a man, you're a man. When I say lose the boy, there's time to be a man. I mean, being childlike and having a boyish, I think there's a difference. And I don't mind you being childlike. I don't mind you holding on to your youth. I don't mind you having the toys and the boys around you. But if you're going to lean into just complete, I think you got to be a man. If you're going to lean into complete, I don't have responsibility. I don't have to fucking own up to this. I don't have to do anything. I think that it's time to grow up and be a man.
Well, Scott, I agree, but what's been defined as a man in this society is a bunch of bullshit.
Define
Okay.
it for me.
Yeah.
Define it for me.
Well, a man is like the Christ, one who is strong, who is compassionate, merciful, loving, and fierce. The Christed image is what we are all supposed to be, and what is actually within and available to us all when we heal the child. When we heal ourselves and we make ourselves whole, that is what the purpose is.
What do you
So,
do if we go back to the Garden of Eden? God casts us out. We've eaten the apple. We're thrown into the world. We got animals to eat. We got fruits and berries. Some are going to poison us. What do we do? I mean, the man is I just lost my uncle last year, and I'll tell you.
I got a solution. You tell Adam to throw in a couple more ribs to get some ladies here, and we'll make a
There you
party
go.
of it.
Okay, but
So,
my point. I just lost my uncle last year. I've lost a lot of family members. The older you get, you fucking less people will be around. But my uncle was a man. I mean, he farmed a bunch of land. He ran a business. He ran a business on top of a business. He ran another business next door to that. When he left so many shoes to fill that 6 people are still trying to figure it out a year and a half later. Now,
sure.
if you understand what it takes to be a man, you'll understand that he also made time for his family in the midst of all that. He made time to bring people out to his farm and teach them about hunting, fishing, growing fucking crops. He made time to show them how to plant gardens. He made time to do the manly shit. Now he also built a log cabin, added on to it when he was 74 years old, 73, I think.
Right.
So.
I don't mean to interrupt, but there's been lots of good examples that we can all admire from, and that was part of the conversation we had earlier too, is about, to improve yourself, find role models, find examples of people you admire, and incorporate that into yourself.
Perfect.
I just, the vision of a man these days, in my mind, it's a corporate success. It's someone who's risen to influence and power in that realm, and all that means is that they've known how to either obey or manipulate the rules of today in order to succeed. It actually does not represent the integrity of the man, the position, or the job. It does nothing to represent who the man is. But I think the definition of a man, we were given it, and then everyone convinced each other that the perfected being was not possible.
in Africa, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say in Africa, one of the things that a lot of the youth, like the male youths, have to do is put their hand inside of a woven basket with ants, a bullet ant in there, and it might be the Amazon. I might be wrong. It might be a different continent. But they put their hand in there,
right?
And there's it's fear. Like a lot of them don't want to do it, but it's a transition from the teenage to being a man. You have to make that jump. You got to throw the kid into the pool sometimes, and if the kid doesn't jump on his own, like what else can you do besides throw him in? So that goes back to Jesse's thing where that love, that fearful love.
The eagle kicks the fucking baby out of the nest. If it doesn't fly, it's fucked.
Well,
that's what you gotta do.
I mean, there is some truth to our society has created soft men. I mean, we don't have that transition of childhood into adulthood. We teach the children to prepare and plan for high school, prepare and plan for college, then prepare and plan for your job, then for retirement, and then prepare and plan to die. We don't teach the children to live. We don't teach them to learn. We don't teach them to lead.
Jack, you stepped on John Lennon's toes here. I'm sorry. You just went right over this one with John Lennon's toes. You stepped on them. Life is what's happening while people are busy making plans.
It was nice of Scott to sing it just like Yoko. That was good.
Amen.
Sorry, I got you. Go. We can rewind it. Let me rewind this. Hold on a second.
No, actually, my mind, I hate to say it's kind of drifting. I do have an urge just to keep it short, to break the patterns of long streams that we've been building.
Can I ask a couple questions before you drop out? Because
Please,
I like
brother.
you. I won't lie. I mean, I'll tell you truthfully. I think that there's good, bad, and indifferent in all of us, and I like to try and bring the good forward as much as possible in everybody. I mean, and if hatred flows too much forward, or if even the illusion of hatred, that tends to fucking just back me away. Now, good ribbon and good comedy and stuff. But I hear a lot of intelligence floating around these few rooms I've checked out. And when you get to that point where you're going, I'd rather hear the high level, than the fucking ribbon and the bullshit. I'm wondering, well, how could we facilitate that somehow? Because hey, maybe it's not the most viewers, but it's the most necessary. Okay.
There's quality for sure, quality of viewers,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
people who
and
actually want to listen to.
I've always said quality over quantity every fucking day of the week. And that's coming from a world where I've spent the 15, 20,000 hours in the studio doing music. And I did it for the music, not the money. I didn't want the money. I never fucking cared about the money. And that was the agreement I made with the people that I worked with. We're not going out this door and saying we have something decent until we have something decent. Period. We don't do that.
Well,
And when we would go out to check the fucking shitty tapes, we'd go to the shittiest radio because if it sounded good there, we knew it'd sound good anywhere. But we did what we had within our means to work as hard as we could and put out the best thing we had.
hey, Scott, that's beautiful because that's exactly what I'm doing, what me and Moose are doing. We may be imperfect sometimes. We may stumble through,
That's how
some
you
of the
learn.
steps,
That's how
but
you
amen.
learn.
Amen. And what the goal is for us for these, I mean, we're committed 5:30 each day, at least for the time being. And, we want to be reliable and we want to be a place that puts out some value in a short period so people can catch what they want, what's being offered, and then continue on their day and incorporate what is being offered. The goal is to wrap this bitch up so Jack can go out. And not on a Tuesday night, not necessarily, but
Does the chat have any questions at all, Moose? Have you been getting anything coming up?
Quantum lyricist.
Oh, and Smith, we see Smith up in there. How you doing?
Hello.
Wordsmith.
Good evening. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to say, love what Scott just had to say and what Pink filled in there. This, like I said before, I have no broadcast. I'm not good on the internet. Great idea with the smaller panels. I think you got a good vibe going here tonight. I haven't listened to the whole thing. I've dropped in a couple times. It's a good vibe. It's a good panel, and I think the smaller panel is more cohesive and it's easier to share ideas. I just wanted to say to Jesse, to you up there, I can't find your channel. Love what you do, bro. I'd love to just bounce ideas off you or whatever. Can somebody post his channel? Great show tonight. I think at one point you had 50 viewers. I hope I didn't affect that in any way with my comment. Love y'all. I mean, peace and love to everybody. I'm different. Is that okay? I just hope people can accept that. So God bless y'all. Maybe drop your channel if somebody dropped Jesse's channel in the link and never seen you, Pink, but you got some good insight. It's a good panel tonight. Good job, guys. All right. So peace out, guys.
That was really cool. Thank you.
Thank you. What a
Have
great
good
guy.
evening.
You're nice man there. Great for you to come up and chat. And I'm here as one of my channels is the High Vibe Love Tribe. We're not doing anything right now until my legs are healed, where we get together. We're going to be used to do 7 days a week, but it'll be once a week to dance and to Tibetan singing bowls, meditation, exercise, with some techno music. So when the lockdown first started, I decided instead of telling people about what's been going on in the world and how bad things are, I wanted to raise people's vibrations. So I committed to 7 days a week for 11 straight months, 2 to 4 hours a night, to increasing the vibration and having a safe place for people to go. No politics, no virus, no nothing people could talk about, just love and coming together. And we built a beautiful group of people. At one point, there was 3,400 live views on Facebook alone. Like this thing was rocking as we were going. And so but because I was my legs, I've had a leg problems for 12, 13 years. I just had double hip replacement surgery. I had to stop, doing the dancing in the High Vibe Love Tribe. So we pivoted to something called the Missing Link, where we interview people from all around the world. Jack Talcott was on there. Lots of very well-known people in the world. We've interviewed 40 doctors against the agenda, and David Icke and Del Bigtree and Lee Camp. He's a political comedian. Lots of really cool people that we got to have on the show. I'm just setting up the show for tomorrow. I'm going to drop the links for all of the channels, and it's going to be under High Vibe Love Tribe. So that's just why I want to explain both of those things. That's who I'm here as right now. And I'll drop, those things. So we've been doing this online for a long time, and just looking to connect with as many people, increase the vibrations. And that's why I love what Jack's doing here. I've seen such a progression of a whole bunch of people coming at an angry, really volatile place, lots of trauma, and actually coming and saying, hey, I was wrong, and, sorry that I was, and you've helped me kind of become a better person. And that is beautiful. And, for me, and I support Jack and everything that he's doing. He's my homeboy. And so people better be nice to him, because, I'm in this love vibration because I got myself away from, maybe not being in such a love vibration. And so I just want to share the love, because it's much better than being someone that's out of alignment and not in love. So that's what I'm about. I'm going to watch the hockey game. There's a hockey game that's on. Edmonton Oilers is my girlfriend's city, so where she's in a different city than I am, we're gonna watch it on video chat as we, I'm gonna be watching and she's gonna be watching, and we're gonna get to watch it together, but in different places. So that's what I'm about doing. Just set up my lives, and love you guys. Keep building, keep growing, keep uniting with good people, not the ones that come here angry, being insultive, being the shaitans that they call other people. So just keep on that love, and you'll do good work here, brother.
Much love. And Jesse, seriously, an honor to have you join, and your praise and encouragement. And please, we did drop the link for Jesse Howell, High Vibe Love Tribe. Check it out. He's actually got a lot of other. You've got other links to your other.
I'm gonna drop them. Gotta go into my email and drop them. So gotta go. I'll put them in the chat as long as you stay for a few minutes, or I'll be there afterwards. But take care, all you guys, and see you next time we see you.
You got it. Go Oilers. Have a good one.
Yeah, have fun.
Who are they playing?
I don't
No
know.
idea.
He said, but I didn't pay attention, to be honest.
All he said was Edmonton is one team.
I love that hockey's still around doing its thing. They are one of the hardest types of athletes that get punished, like beaten in the rink and everything, and the lowest paid. And they do it for the love of the game, not for the free dental, but it's just the love of the game that they do it for. So if there's any hockey fans in there, keep it going, keep giving them the views, all 500 of them.
I don't know. Hey, I actually want to check in with Moose just very briefly. What are you feeling, brother? I mean, like I said, I'm comfortable. I feel good. I feel like we put out a good vibe tonight. I feel like the conversations flowed, and like I said, there's something appealing to me about.
Be kind.
Kind. Yeah. So,
Kind.
I think you did excellent. I think things went well. You had some great conversations. We were at 50 for a while there, and now we're down to 20. We're kind of dying. The fire's kind of kindling now. If we decide to take off now, I don't think that would hurt us. I think it'd be fine. We could all go about our business, come back tomorrow, reconvene. Are we going to get anything started up again? Is there going to be a log thrown on the fire? I don't know. So that's really up to you.
I don't predict the future. We've still got Flo in the back. I'm going to bring him up too, right? And then maybe we'll start a wrap up. Not to make this short on you, Flo. Welcome, brother. I saw you in the back. I wasn't sure what we were going to do.
I'm glad you let me up. I just wanted to bring some hate to this scene. It was getting, you all were getting seriously unbalanced up here. So fuck you guys.
It's always good
Thank
to
you.
have an
Thanks.
instigator. And there's plenty who do volunteer for that role. But hey, brother, you are welcome. We've had some great conversations, and even though we haven't necessarily agreed on every topic, I do love talking to you, man.
And the feeling's mutual. I think that being able to, I mean, telling somebody that you disagree with them is a sign of respect. At least that's how I view it. Because people I don't respect, I'm not even going to bother fucking with them.
Huh. Yeah,
Hey,
that's a good way of putting it. I mean, yeah, Jack, you want to comment on that? That's
well, there is some truth to that. You know, I know that the fact that I receive any attention at all, it means that I'm in the mind of whoever it is. What'd that say, Dee Dee? What'd that say? I love to fart. Well, you know, at least there's love, man. At least, and you know what? That's a cool part of being a human. It does feel good and it sounds good and whatever.
I need to get my daughters those shirts.
I have a friend that put it in trust that at her funeral someone must fart.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
has anybody volunteered yet? I don't know. I don't know her, but I got that if it falls through.
I've already said, man, I'm down if that's what it takes.
All right.
We'll
Just want to make sure
fulfill
her
the
wishes
trust.
are done.
Hey, I want to give I did say we were shutting down, but I want to give a chance for
Yeah.
Dee Dee, who just showed up, and then afterwards, Chandler, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, I was
Did you-
talking. Been watching you guys talking about your opinion on what is a man, and you kind of referred to the corporate version of that. Not that I disagree. You know,
No.
it's really nothing to disagree with on that. You know, because it's a point of view that I don't find anything negative about. But you know, I think of myself as a man. You know, on many levels. You know, as a father. You know, as a son, as a husband, not only to my kids but to my pets. You know what I mean? When I'm out in I guess you could say the wild, you know, shopping or wherever out in public, you can easily identify males who aren't men. You know, just by their actions, the way they carry themselves. You know, a lot of it is the way what you project on other people. You know, the fakeness. You know what I mean? Somebody who's got a short temper. You know what I mean? Somebody who's not disciplined. You know, that to me, that's what really a man is. A man does what needs to get done. You know, no matter what, really. But you know, aside
Well
from
said.
corporate.
Hey,
You know
well
what I mean?
said, brother. As soon
Yeah.
as you reminded me, I said that, I was like, no, there's many other definitions of a man that come to mind. And Dee Dee, my experience with you do present as a man, a strong man who cares. You care for truth. You care for love. You care for the kids, the animals. You care. To me, that's a man. A man cares. But what we got to be careful of is, what do we care about? And this world will teach us to care about the opinions. It'll teach us to care about, you know, how well we judge ourselves. How well are we achieving? What are the results, right? All this nonsense of the materialist world.
Hmm.
To me, a man is confident in himself. What you said, gets what needs to be done when it needs to be done. It's someone that the women and the children can feel safe around, that they can look to for leadership, for guidance. But it's also the one who offers the protection and the safe place for the women, for the children, be themselves, right?
Yeah.
And the women and children are our inspiration. The woman in our life can be whole and complete and become our muse, right? I really think that's the feminine aspect that men have lost within themselves, is the acceptance. The feminine aspects have been lost in the traditional male of today because we don't accept. We're not as generous, we're not as accepting, we're not as motherly, right? Not as kind and compassionate. But to me, those are qualities in a damn good man.
When you speak dismissively of accomplishments or achievement, I assume that you're referring to like material financial achievements and not just clarifying.
In part, we all judge ourselves. We all have different standards of ourselves and each other, but this world really does. As a man, I judged myself as inadequate because I didn't have the financial security. I didn't have the trophy of a beautiful woman next to me. You know, I didn't have what other men had. So I felt insecure because of my opinions. When really, if I'd have compared myself to others, you know, the people in war zones or the people who've had their children taken away from them because they crossed a border or something, you know, when I compare myself to them, holy shit, have I got it good. Right?
And yeah, I mean, while I don't entirely agree with everything you said, I do want to sort of echo what you said, and I just completely drew a blank.
I said a lot. I was talking about.
Oh, I got it back. Okay. You mentioned something about comparing people. When you compare yourself to other people, you're well off, right? And I think that that's a huge source of anxiety and like just bad feelings for people, is because they don't compare themselves to realistic comparables. Everybody seems to compare themselves to the idealized, perfected version of themselves, which isn't a thing.
That's a great
I would like
point.
to elaborate on a point that you made, Jack, when it comes to men losing touch with their feminine aspects. And I'd
Please
like
do.
to take it to more of like a ontological sense, so more abstract. But you see this in society. In these times, the ideal feminine is being destroyed, and part of what you mentioned as well was that that men are like failing to be compassionate and to be feminine. And part of the feminine is that there's an interplay in the feminine. So the feminine isn't always exposing itself at all times. If you were to sit and stare at breasts for a few hours, they would get quite boring. You know, you could look at it this way as like the moon.
That's never happened for me.
The full moon would be less beautiful if it was full at all times.
I think I see what you're saying, is that there's a dynamic aspect, and that maybe I overgeneralized or oversimplified the description of the feminine.
There's a veiling and an unveiling of the feminine that makes it more beautiful. And the problem is we don't want that veil anymore, and now we just have booty shorts and you know, a complete destruction of the ideal feminine.
Hey Chandler, I got a question for you. Do you think it is appropriate for a man to cry? Because I mean, you're showing your vulnerability, right? You're making yourself open if people see you. Or do you cry in private? You know, but do you cry at all? So what are your thoughts on that? Like, what would you do?
Me personally, it's private, because I guess there's certain scenarios where it'd be okay to show that, but most of the time as a man, it's a bad idea to.
I love that question, and
Didn't Jesus weep?
I cry often, admittedly. I do.
Oh.
From at least these days, especially tears of gratitude,
Yeah.
tears of peace, of joy, and hope. But there's also tears of sadness because the state of this world really does sadden me. Fucking breaks my heart. It makes me angry as well. But I've been working on my anger. So maybe many of us have. I think I've heard that from many, especially in the men.
I
That anger.
very rarely cry, if and mostly in private. But I've had some very bad shit happen in life that openly in front of people, there was an inability to hold it back.
There you
And
go.
you know, when you have the reality that you're human, that you're a man, and that you have feelings, and that they're deeper than what you even knew. There's an inability to control yourself, and that just shows you how close you are, I believe, to the creation source, because that's what I believe brought me there in the first place, to that depth of, sadness
Yeah.
and sorrow.
Yeah.
I
Do
can
you think
explain.
Scott, do you think that it's better to hold in those emotions though, or is it better to release them?
Look at the wild. Okay, let's take a couple of wild beasts that go out and they're just fucking getting it on. You got a wildebeest and a fucking lion. Okay, all right. They know better than to go away from that fight if they both live through it and hold that. Both of them are gonna fucking shake it the fuck off because they know better than to carry that with them. It's gonna dull all their other senses. You gotta shake it off. You have
Real
to.
men don't cry.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
you
Fuck
can
these
say that
pussies.
all you want. I could tell you a story and a half, and you'll sit there and you go, well, I might question myself on that.
No,
Or
I'm
is
just
it
fucking
or is
being
it
sarcastic.
DD
No,
love
I
the
agree.
Blues Brothers poster in the background. Love that.
They're
But
on a mission from God.
it's so great. Do you believe that like real men don't cry or real men don't say they cry?
No, I mean it's not that real men don't cry. It's real men are strong enough to not cry when they stub their toe, you know what I mean, or
Oh, yeah.
somebody hurts their feelings. You know what I mean. I can count on probably one hand the amount of times I've cried since I felt that I was a man and an adult. You know what I mean, and those were situations where you're supposed to. If you don't cry, then there's something wrong with you, in my opinion. If you can't have the inner feelings to feel remorse or feel sorrow for something, some kind of something, I think there's something wrong with you if you can't be in touch with those feelings. I'm not talking about painting your fingernails and shit, but or wearing high heels, those kind of feelings. But
I only did that
you know what I
once.
mean?
Right.
Damn it.
But everybody
Shit
got
keeps
pictures of
coming.
it, so
Yeah, those are
Fuck. You
resurfacing
better
soon.
not, man. I didn't give my camera to him.
Oh, hey, this is. I love these conversations. I don't mean to be rude, but I think I am going to wrap this up. Unless you
Thank you
have
for your
anything.
time.
let me
Unless
hit the
you have
crying thing
anything
real quick before
pressing.
you do.
What's that?
Let me hit the crying thing real quick before you do.
Please.
I think that it's a more important aspect of being a man is to be in control of yourself. So if the crying is displayed out of a lack of self-control, that's a problem.
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah. But once again, that pushes it. You're repressing your emotions. Like, is
Which is
that healthy?
appropriate, I think. That's part of growing up.
Yep.
There's a time and place for all things, but our emotions, they're special. They shouldn't be ignored. They shouldn't be denied. They should be understood.
But not all of them are always appropriate everywhere.
Amen.
Right.
Part of.
I would agree with that.
Actually, I'm going to cover this in my last minute. Anything else? I'm going to throw you guys to the back and then wrap up with some final words on my
Well, I
end.
wanted to
Thanks so
respond to
much.
Flo about that real quick.
Please.
I recently had to let go of an employee. I'm not sure if anyone's ever had to do that or not, but it's not a good time. You know what I mean?
It's awkward.
Never.
It's just not a good time. So I fired this kid, and I say he's a kid. He was probably 20. I think he was 28, 29, almost 30. Has a kid of his own. Lives with his parents, who live with his grandparents. So the kid, is not really doing well for himself. But anyway, he started to cry, and unfortunately, and it was very shitty of me, is normally when I see people cry, it makes me react in a smile. Like I see
And
somebody
smile?
cry and I smile. Yes, I smile, and it's not.
That's an uncomfortable reaction.
I don't know what it is. I just, it's just a
It's the
weird.
cruelty in you. You're up here to spread hate too, I see.
No, but at the end of the end of the story, real quick, is I'm not trying to drag it on, but I apologized to him. I was like, I know it's hard, and I made it right, but it's just I've always my whole life I've always had that reaction of if I see anybody cry, it almost makes me want to laugh. So I'm not sure where that comes from, but what I was getting at wasn't about me; it was about the kid. Is like I would never cry if I got fired. I would never. I mean, he's a grown man. You think he's a grown man? I mean, he worked for me for a couple of years, so
It was a rejection, and someone who's coming from a home like that is probably looking for connection and trying to achieve with a job, now getting rejected. It's heartbreaking, but you know what? As a business owner and a boss, you've got an obligation to the operation. You've got an obligation to what's right. And it's part of a learning lesson for you and for the kid.
Kind of sound like a capitalist there, Jack.
Just a
Well-
small backstory. The kid was never on time, always had complaints, always would counsel him, hey, we need to get this better. We got to do this. You can't do that anymore. And he would get better. And then a week later, we're right back where we were again. So I was like, that's it. Wrote him up 3 times. I said, last time, that's it, man. And he did it to himself. I think he was more or less crying because he knew I gave him plenty of chances to better himself and try to be a mentor. And like, hey, this, instead of yelling at him, hey, this is what I want you to do. Let me show you how to do it this way. Here we go. And it didn't work out for him. So, but he,
hey, brother, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future, if you guys cross paths again someday in the future, he has grown and he recognizes. He'll probably thank you. Thanks for
I hope
firing
it helps him. I really do. I couldn't let him go on with doing the same bullshit. I had to let him go. So
no,
he's
we
gotta
can't
learn
see
from
this. Actually, okay. Anything else final? I'm going to throw you guys out of here and address this alone.
But Jack,
Jack, have a good evening. Nice
we
talking
just got
to you.
here.
I only cry when I feel bad about things like you're kicking me out of the room.
Be good, do good.
Cry too.
Scotty
Hey,
cried.
suffering great losses when I've cried, and imagining what some of the people I really loved went through when they passed. That has fucking tortured me, and I've been lost there a couple times. So without going any further into that, you know what? Live without fear. I had created a love acronym for a girlfriend. It was Let's Overcome Violence Everywhere. And I think there's another one that can be made out of it. It's Let's Overcome Vitriol Everywhere. And I think they kind of both tailor-made to that love word, because if you love someone, why would you be violent towards them, or why would you have a whole lot of vitriol towards them?
Hey, amen, brother. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
You guys have
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. You take care, Jack.
Pink, you as well. God bless. Thank you, brother. Thank you for those who joined on the panel, in the chat this evening, and who may be tuning in later at a later time. Tonight, I think we had some good discussions. We talked about fear. We talked about love. We talked about all sorts of wonderful things. What it means to be a man. How to understand our emotions. How to really, I don't know. You know what? I'm just here sharing love and sharing time. But thank you for sharing your time in my experience. And with that, have a beautiful evening, brothers and sisters. Stay tuned. Do the subscribe thing. Check back in tomorrow and see what happens next. Have a beautiful evening. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless.